Okay. Well, hello, crime stoppers. I've got this massive forehead. Anyway, I managed to shave, but I didn't do my hair. I didn't brush my hair. Comb. You don't brush this anyway, unless you want a crazy looking afro. Gonna go over a bunch of stuff quickly because I don't have a whole lot of time. It's Friday. Got parties and all kind of stuff. It's gonna be an interesting weekend. Hopefully, I'm gonna make this a habit on Mondays. We'll do it the Monday Maxim thing. But as I'm looking around, I heard it once, I heard it twice, I heard it three times. There you go. Maxims. Um, that's how you beat them, is with the maxims. Maxims of law, no adjudication. They're maxims. Stare decisis, already been decided. They're maxims. So you can spend your life, and I give guys like over there, Kirk's Law Corner up there in Idaho. He's spent a lot of time studying process and the codes and law and so forth. But even he says if you want to stomp them, it needs to be maxims that you understand. And I will say also, maxims, I'm going to go over this, and I couldn't find one online. Maybe there is one, or maybe I just missed it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to go over this. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about this because you got to know about process and look how beat up this book is. This is called The Nature of the Judicial Process, and it got left out in the rain. Actually, it didn't get left out in the rain. It got left out on the deck, and then the deck leaked, and now, anyway. But I managed to save it. This was actually my mother's book. This is an old book. There, you can see her stamp in here someplace. Anyway, I inherited this from her. I don't think we're going to go over this too terribly much. Also, this one. And this was a paperback from way back in the day. Recommended reading, actually. Anyhow, let's go over a few things. Let's go over this first. This is the Leadership Institute. I got this at a Ron Paul conference. Let's start with this. Never give a bureaucrat a chance to say no. Yeah, these are not maxims particularly, but these are just rules of leadership from Martin C. Blackwell. And there's a couple in here that are really good. Like, don't fire all your ammunition at once. That I've learned. Right? Yeah, you got 3 times. Hit them once, hit them again, hit them the third time. Don't get mad, except on purpose. That's huge. Calm is the superpower. My younger boy is figuring this out. My older boy taught it to himself. Calm is the superpower. Effort is admirable. No worries, I can speak English. Effort is admirable. Achievement is valuable. And now here, 5. Pay attention to this one. Make the steel more expensive than it's worth. I did. That's how I bought time with the IRS, was when they figured out that, this wasn't going to be an easy one. And then I was educating myself. And there was a little while there where I was worried. But as I got more and more education, I realized, they're not. If you screw up, they will take advantage of your screw ups. And yes, they do want to put you in jail. Yeah, they do. But they can't use this thing as surety if you let them know that they can't use it as surety. Anyway, give them a title and get them involved. Okay, that's if you're doing a leadership group, so forth. Make them vice president of marketing or whatever. Expand the leadership. You can't beat the plan with no plan. That's kind of huge and should be obvious, but you can't beat the plan with no plan. The political technology determines political success. Now you need to know what political technology is. Sound doctrine is sound politics. Sound doctrine is sound politics. In politics, you have to be, and see, this is if you want to get involved, but don't get involved in politics. But this is if you want to get involved in trying to make political change inside the corporation. Well, you're going to have to know some of this stuff when we return to the Republic, which is what's coming. The Republic is going to be restored, believe it or not. In politics, you have your word and you have your friends. Go back on either and you're dead. Right? In politics, you have your word and you have your friends. If you go back on either, you're dead. You'd be amazed at how many get away with that in both Republican and Democrat. See, this is the best thing about this thing that's just happened, is that the Republicans figured out that, the Republicans are dirty too. Gee. We're not supposed to have parties. First off, they are abhorrent to our system. Second off, it's the same guys, right? I've been over this. It's Wigmores. It's the cotton Wigmores or the conscious Wigmores. But either way, they're Wigmores. And they ain't your friends. They ain't your friends. Let's see here. Keep an eye on the main chance and don't stop to kick every barking dog. I like that. In Hawaii, we say, keep the main thing, because the main thing is the main thing. Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. Huge, whether that's politics or anything. Don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. I know too many perfectionists that never get any damn thing done because it wasn't perfect. Production to perfection, right? You don't want to be. Anyway, I won't go there. Remember, be for stuff, not against stuff. Just be for stuff, because whatever you're against, you're going to strengthen. Remember, the other side has troubles too, and sometimes you can capitalize on those troubles. Don't treat good guys like you treat the bad guys. Treat the good guys like you treat the good guys, and treat the bad guys like you treat the bad guys, but don't treat the good guys like you treat the bad guys. A well-run movement takes care of its own. I'm only on 17 here at least, and there's 45 of these, and then we're going to go over some Nemos, and then I think I'll call it a day. And I'm just going to do this every day, so you can hear this stuff. You can just play it in the background. You can play it on 2x speed. The Nemos are hugely important. The nihils are also hugely important. And if you don't know what I'm talking about maxims of law. Oh, and then one other thing I want to go over, hopefully we'll get to it today, is the forms that you need. And actually, before I get crazy, let me, and I gave you this guy's library for free. You have, like I said, no more excuses. It's all for free all over the place. Black's Law Dictionary is for free. Let me put this over here again, just so you guys have it. And according to Kirk, he's saying that, and I've read this. If you don't read anything else over there, you need the Law Dictionary. But yeah, see, and I got Black's Law open because I'm one of them crazy guys. I like to read the dictionary. I'm also going to put this in here. I'll actually just go in there, and it's which one is it? Open it your own darn self, because the legal maxims, collection of legal maxims. I'm going to go over that, and then, but not the whole thing, because there's gajillions of them. And then the treatise on arrest and false imprisonment. Huge. Oh my God, huge. Read this thing. Therein, there is. I remember it was Dan Meador that basically said to me, "Go read USC 5." And there's all kind of diamonds in there. The Administrative Procedures Act, because it's binding on them. They need to follow administrative procedure, oddly enough. Anyway, information. Arm yourself with knowledge. Educate self, educate others. We didn't get educated. We got schooled. And now you start to realize that this is absolutely the case. Okay, so this is going to be one for the weekend. See, I did it on Friday so that you guys would have this stuff, and then you can, screw around tomorrow. Hopefully you got the weekend off, or I don't know, but Saturday morning, Sunday, etc. Do a little reading. All right. Hire at least as many to the right. Oh, wait. There. Oh, wait. Sorry, it is higher. I thought it was there. Hire at least as many to the right of you as to the left of you. That's actually pretty good. You can't save the world if you can't pay the rent. Let me repeat that. You can't save the world if you can't make rent, right? You're never going to fight these guys broke dick. You just can't. So you got to figure out how to make some money. Theta, 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 theta. I'm going to say it again. Theta, theta. I've been theta. Get some theta. All right. All gains are incremental. Some increments aren't gains. A stable movement requires healthy reciprocal IOU flow among the politicians. Don't keep a careful tally. An ounce of loyalty is worth a pound of cleverness. Never miss a political meeting if you think there's the slightest chance you'll wish you'd have been there. In volunteer politics, a builder can build faster than a destroyer can destroy. Actions have consequences. The mind can absorb no more than the seat can endure. So take breaks if you're going to have, I mean, okay. The idea is hopefully some of this will turn into you people turning into rabble rousers and understanding that, yeah, going, how's it been working out going out every 4 years and voting? How's that working out for us? How about going every 2 years and voting? No, you're going to have to get involved. And that's the whole thing. None of us want to get involved. I don't want to be a senator. If they would have come to me, and they never would have, but I mean, if they would have come to me and gave, and the way they came to Trump, if I had been a billionaire and stuff like that, and I probably would have said, fuck off, I'm not doing this. You see my wife? Look at my wife. I mean, anyway, I'm not doing it. I'd rather spend time with her than you guys. Anyway, so, give the guy some credit. I don't, like I said, I don't think he's our friend, but he's not, I mean, he's the enemy of our enemy for damn sure. But the whole reason they've been getting away with this is because good people don't want to get involved. And so bad people, we are ruled by the least and worst among us. They put them in positions of power, easily corruptible, easily, money and children and all the, anyway. And yeah, now they are in positions of power. And now you see how fucked things are. Notice the oil well that blew up over there, or there was an attack in Saudi Arabia, knocking the price of oil up. The 33rd degree Mason named Dan Marino predicted this. He told you that they were probably going to do something like this. Why? Is he able to see the future? No, as he said, they've done it in the past. Why wouldn't they do it again? Right? And again, Masons, yeah, past the 33rd degree, a lot of them go south, go left, and they take a hard left when they should have kept going right. So yeah, I'm not a joiner. I'd never joined. I've been asked more than one time from various people, you should join the Mason. No, no, I'll study the stuff that you got because I recognize knowledge when I see it, but I ain't gonna, grandma said, don't be a joiner. And so did Han Solo, right? Don't be a joiner, kid. Remember, it's like an inning. We got a long ways to go. There are bad people doing bad things. And see, they're being allowed to do bad things so they can be caught. But everybody, all of us got to join in the catch. Can't be waiting for somebody else to do it. So you got to get your fucking paperwork together. You got to know what the words mean. You're going to have to learn some of these Nemos. And see, this is the thing. You can spend if you look at 50 states with all of their codes and statutes, you can study that forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. It will take you forever. They want you to get caught up in the codes. You need to know contract law, the basics of contract law. I put that here and you can find it anywhere. Contract law for dummies. You need to know some trust law, not so that you can set up trust, so that you can get out from under those trusts. And then you need to know maxims. I heard it from this guy over here that I just put the thing there, Kurt's library. Yeah, you want to kick their butts? Maxims. I heard it from Lentz. I heard it from Patrick Devine. I heard numerous people. You want to kick their asses, you got to know that. You got to know the maxims, because there's no adjudication for maxims. Judges will not go against the maxims. And if you can spit out a maxim that's applicable in the situation, in the moment, then they're going to consider you learned. And yeah, and there's Nemos. And I'm going to read some of these Nemos, and you should know them, and you should know the nihils. But you should know all those maxims. That's the common law. That's the basic law. Those are the old sayings. Those are what the judges, and you will notice that the fundamental laws are reflected in the maxims, and you'll see them delineated in our Constitution, which you are not a party to, by the way, but our Constitution lays out those Nemos. Right, the things that they can't do, right? No one can. You'll see. Anyway, you'll see in a minute. Let me finish this. Let's see here. Actions have consequences. We're there. The mind can absorb no more than the seat can endure. That's why 3 hours. This is crazy. So you guys can't. I mean, how many of you guys actually watch this from beginning to end? If I do a 3 hour one, no, I usually take breaks, and some people. They put it on 2 times speed, so 3 hours turns into 90 minutes. And yeah, but the idea being is that the mind can only absorb, right, what the seat can endure. So you got to take breaks. You got to feed them. You got to, if you're trying to build a group, and you should try to build a team, especially if you're going to get involved in party politics and stuff like that, These guys talk about how to do it. And they used to train the leaders, and they'd even have sessions. And anyway, then they'd pick out who's a leader and who's a follower. And it's okay to be a follower. You know what? If you're the one that makes sandwiches, they need to make sandwiches, right? They got to be able to eat. If you're the one that brings the refreshments, that's every bit as important as the leader. And this is the thing. Be careful when it comes leader. You want, right? You got to, I mean, leaders mean you are a follower, right? If you elect a leader, that makes you a follower. So what you want is a bunch of living individuals, some some fictional corporate persons that get together and throw off all those bonds, become sovereign individuals as a group. Therein lies the power, right? We're all sovereign over this one. That's it. I'm not sovereign over you. You're not sovereign over me. Together, we put together a government that was supposed to be full of public servants. And as you have seen, those public servants have turned against us. You got to wear a mask. I'm going to drag you off to jail. Here, I'm going to put you in handcuffs. That's kidnapping. And that's one of the basic ones that, you know what the penalty for that kidnapping is? Oftentimes it's death. It's right up there with treason. It's right up there with murder. So all you got to do is get some people with cameras or witnesses, and you say, I'm going with you under duress, right? You're kidnapping me. I haven't done anything wrong. Wearing a mask. You're enforcing policy. And then you got to be willing to take the gloves off and take the knives out. We are there, people. They would fucking stick us in camps. It's become clear. They would stick us in camps. And you guys are sitting back going, how did the Germans allow this to happen? I can't believe those silly Germans let this happen. Look around. Let's see here. Remember, it's along, but we got there. It's the test of moral ideas. Wait, the test of moral ideas is moral results. You can't beat somebody with nobody. That's what I mean. You got to get to you on team. You got to at least have one witness, at least. Better a snake in the grass than a viper in your bosom. Don't fully trust anyone until he has stuck with a good cause, which he saw was losing. That's good. You got to know who your friends are, man. And this is the problem. So many people can't figure out that the enemy, your enemy, doesn't necessarily make him your friend. And I mean, too many people don't know who their friends are. And because of that, they don't know who their enemies are. You got to figure out who your enemies are and who your friends are. And not all the people you think are your enemies are your enemies. Some of them, anyway. See, and that's the thing with discernment. What up, Phil? A prompt, generous letter of thanks. Yeah, this is huge, actually. And I found this to be the case in business and in, actually, I won't go there. But a letter of thanks, handwritten, not a business, not a card. I mean, an actual letter of thanks. And even it's just a thank you note. I used to have a thick stack of them, and all it on the front cover, on the front of the card, it just said thank you, and the inside it was blank. And then you write a note for thanking them, whatever it is, thanking them for their business, right? I have parents. I had one parent. Anyway, your clientele. Just give them a thank you card, not just the Christmas card. I mean, just out of the blue. Hey, thanks for your business. Hey, thanks for your doing whatever it is you did for me. Hey, thanks. You fixed you're a mechanic, for fuck's sake. Hey, you fixed my car and it's still fixed, right? I used to have this guy, Yogi's Transmission. Here is a free freaking commercial for that guy. If it ain't fixed, if he doesn't fix it right, he will grumble a little bit because he's an old grouchy dude. But I mean, if he fixes your car, it's fucking fixed. I mean, it's not fixed or it's free, but I mean, if you bring it back because he didn't fix it, he will fucking fix that. He will fix for free, right? And I've had that where one time we thought the problem was fixed and he didn't fix the problem, and I bought the car back and he didn't fucking bill me. He wasn't happy about it, but he didn't bill me because he said it was fixed and it wasn't, right? And I think that's happened once in like 30 fucking years. Send the guy a thank you note. Hey, thanks for fixing my car. I appreciate it. Right? Whatever, whoever, you're, I don't know. I don't know what your life circumstance is, but I mean, be quick to say thanks. A prompt, generous letter of thanks can be a commitment which otherwise might disappear when the going gets rough. Yeah, because they'll remember that. In this case, they're talking about your political guys, right? Hey, thanks for coming in and stuffing envelopes. Hey, thanks for coming in and, all right, thanks for holding signs. Hey, thanks for making placards or whatever. But yeah, if you're the group and they come down and they volunteer their time, thank them for fucking giving you their time. Governing is campaigning by different means. That's controlling, right? Governing. Understand what the words mean. You cannot make friends of your enemies by making enemies of your friends. You cannot make friends of your enemies by making enemies of your friends. Choose your enemies as carefully as you choose your friends. Keep a secure home base. Don't rely on being given anything you don't ask for. In politics, nothing moves unless pushed, which is why you're going to see many more false flag shootings and so forth, because they want to push gun control, and there's never going to be a reason to push gun control if there aren't some false flags. There's never going to be a reason to raise the price of oil if you don't have some bombings in oil refineries or an accident or something that happens to push the price of oil up. Let's see here. Witnesses aren't perfect. They made fewer mistakes than their rivals. Oh, excuse me, not witnesses, winners. Winners aren't perfect. They make fewer mistakes than their rivals. Let's see here. One big reason is better than many little reasons. There you go. One big lie is better than a lot of little lies. Notice how they tell one big lie and then they just repeat it over and over again. This runner gonna kill you. You better get your shot. You don't get that jab, you hate grandma. Right? All around the one lie. In moments of crisis, the initiative passes to those who are best prepared. And that's the thing. Prepare, right? Prepare for the worst. Expect the best, but prepare for the worst. Get your freaking food. Get your freaking water filtered in together. Get your heating or cooling. That's going to be the other thing. Now is going to come up on cooling. Politics is at the heart. Oh, wait a minute. Politics is the heart as well. Politics is the heart as well as the mind. There you go. All right. So yeah, politics is of the heart as well as of the mind. Many people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's cute. Let's see here. Promptly report your action to the one who requested it. Moral outrage is the most powerful motivating force in politics. If you can't get morally outraged over the fact that hundreds of thousands of children are going missing and that CPS itself, it's supposed to be Child Protective Services, is losing fucking children every single year in every single state, I don't know what's going to motivate you, right? I'm over it already with these guys trying to tell me that, you want to talk about abortion. You don't want to talk about abortion because there's a firebrand, but I'm cool with abortion. Ron Paul was cool with abortion when it's like the next day or within the next couple of, 3, 4, 5 days afterwards. But 26 weeks in, I've taught children that were 26 weeks born. More than one. At 26 weeks, that's a baby. That's murder. And that's just straight up murder. Okay, so you can call it whatever you want, and I am not my fucking business. Woman's business, doctor's business, woman and her husband's business, not my business. You want to commit murder? That's up to you. They've made it legal. Right? And I got no judgment on that when you get right down to it. But once the heart is beating, fucking call it what it is. It's murder. That's a heartbeat. And once you stop the heartbeat, you have committed murder. Done. Now, if it's the next day, even Ron Paul was saying fucking morning after pill, all that kind of stuff. No, he got no problem with that. Right? I'm much more lenient than he is when it comes to that. Everybody's got their line, but once the heart is beating, fucking A, stop talking. You were stupid in the first place, and now there is a third party involved. It's not part of the mom. That is a separate living individual. Anyway, And did you see the numbers? I gotta go. I have to go scroll on a Facebook page, but there's like abortion beats the Rona by a bajillion times. Bajillion. That's a big number. Okay. Here's the last one. I like it. Pray as if it all depended on God, but work as if it depended on you. Now, here's the thing. As I've put in others, God helps those who help themselves. Period. Ain't nobody coming to save you but you. And if you start doing the work, you will see that it comes. Whatever you're praying for. All right, a treatise on arrest and false imprisonment. I'm not going to read that. I suggest you do. Strongly suggest you do. So take the time. But we're going to read some of these Nemos. This is what page are we going to be on? And here's the beautiful thing. Look, I just hit Control F, and then I type Nemo, and then I want to see a Nemo. And there you go. Okay, so oh no, not that. Actually, I just want to go straight to the Nemos because there's Nemos in there. Oops, we're going this way. Going this way. Yeah, there's lots of Nemos here. So let's go back to the first ones. Wow, this could be a while because there's a lot of them. And see, this is only out of 359 pages. We're in, and I'm not going to read every single one. We're only on page 180. What? We're on page in the 180s. And see, these goes on for days and days and days. Patrick Devine talks about these, right? And there's a couple I want to get over. Actually, am I gonna? Yeah, okay. Let's start here. See the Nemos and the Nihils. These are like these are the ones. No one is prohibited from approaching the seashore. What? Excuse me? I am finding Nemos. Come on, you gotta have fun if you're gonna be doing this shit. Otherwise, you go crazy. Wait a minute. Now I lost it. All right, Nemos. Yes, I found the Nemos. But no one is prohibited from approaching the seashore. And see, my freaking Latin is so horrifying that I'll just destroy these. But so I'm just going to read them in English. But Nemo adlitas maris acidere prohibitur. No one is allowed to incapacitate himself. No one acts against himself. But that one, no one is prohibited from approaching the seashore. Right there, brah. Right there. There's no adjudication here. Again, these are not up for adjudication. There's no judge that can go, well, no. No one acts against himself. Without security, no one is deemed a competent defender of the property of another. Without security, no one is deemed a competent defender of the property of another. No one may sue in law in the name of another. They do it all the time. They're suing in the name of the state, a fictitious person. They'll try and tell you that the fictitious person was injured. Oh, you didn't go through that. You didn't stop at that stop sign. You injured the state. Oh, you're not wearing your seatbelt. You've caused injury to the state. How can I cause injury to a fiction? No one can rightly understand the part of a thing till he has read through the whole thing again and again. Maybe that's just good advice, whether or not it's law or a Nemo. No one can rightly understand the part of a thing until he has read through the whole thing again and again. Oh wait, let me also read you these. This is from another session. Like, I just take notes all fucking day. I watch videos and take notes. I read books and take notes. This thing is a thing. And when I realized, see, this all should have been done between the time we were 5 and 25. We had 20 years to get. Nope, they didn't do it. They schooled us instead and made us think that drugs and fast cars and pussy was what you wanted. No, what you wanted was knowledge. The drugs and fast cars and pussy was fun. I skipped the drugs. I definitely did the fast cars, and I definitely did the pussy. And now I realize I should have probably been doing something else. and I'm trying to explain to my son, which makes it difficult because, do as I say, not as I do, doesn't work with teenagers. The name of the thing is not the thing named. Oh, that is huge right there. They can call you anything they fucking want. And are they going to pretend to know your name better than you do? Right? But the name of the thing is not the thing named. And then 64, I believe that comes out of this. It's the 64th one, but I don't know. Anyway, in order to rightly comprehend a thing, inquire first into the names. Notice there's an S. For a right knowledge of things depends upon their names. In order to rightly comprehend a thing, inquire first into the names. For a right knowledge of things depends upon their names. What's in a name? And you find out that the whole fucking thing is hinged on the name and their use of it and your ignorance of it. Let's see here. No one alleging his own baseness is to be heard. And you're going to find I love this because my vocabulary is expanding here because they use words in here that I sort of kind of knew what they meant, but then I go look them up and anyway. No one should come twice into danger for the same crime. Oh, double jeopardy. It's codified in our law. That's what this is. No one should come twice into danger for the same crime. No person can be compelled precisely to act, but to so much only as interests him. That's also has to do this. No one's going to get involved in your cause if it's not interesting to them. It's becoming interesting to people because they're being forced to wear the mask. They're being forced to make choices about harming their own children. So they're getting interested. They don't know what to do. You help them. And this is the thing. You can only help them if they right? Can't help them if they don't want help. Don't try to teach the pig to sing. It only annoys the pig and wastes your time. No one is obliged to sell his own property. What? No one is obliged to sell his own property, even for the full value. No one should what? There's another one. They do it all the time. That is Nemo, and that is 1463 in the Maxims. 1464. No one should be condemned unheard or unsummoned. No one can come against his own deed. No one does damage unless he is doing what he has no right to do. So if you have a right to do it, you're not doing damage. No one gives who does not possess. Can't give what you don't have. No one may be dragged from his own house. What? No one can be dragged from his own house? Seems to me they do that all the time. No one should be punished twice for the same fault, and God punishes not twice against himself. One more time, double jeopardy, right? Codified in our laws. A lot of these you're going to find codified in the Constitution. No man should be twice punished if it appear to the court that it is for one and the same cause. There it is again. No one should be enriched by the loss of another. No person ought to gain by another's loss. Stay on your square. Motherfuckers, stay on your square. Right? Cause no one any harm. Cause no one any loss. Do not disturb the peace. No mischief in your contracts. It's not a hard square to stay on. No one should interfere in another's business in nothing relating to him. Mind your damn business. You know that. Grandma told you that. Your daddy told you that. Everybody told you that. Your aunts tell you that. If you got aunts. Your uncles tell you that. If you got uncles. Right? Mind your damn business. No one should interfere in another's business in nothing relating to him. If it ain't got nothing to do to you, mind your own damn business. No one should be retained in partnership against his will. No one should, if you want a partner that's there because he doesn't want to be, no one should lose his property without his own act or negligence. No one should fill two offices. That's pretty clear. They wrote it down. No one should fill two offices. You cannot hold two offices at the same time. You cannot even be an employee of one company at the same time. You can work for two companies, although you shouldn't serve two masters. But you can work for two companies. You can work 8 hours here and then go work 8 hours there. But you can't work 8 hours at Midas Muffler as a mechanic and also be working at Kentucky Fried Chicken. I'm just thinking of, two places, like two businesses that are next to each other. You're on the clock at one or the other. Anyway, no one can fill two offices. No one can be at the same time heir and lord of the same fief. And this is interesting. We'll find out a little bit more about heirs. No one is an heir that has a living father. Anyway, no one can be at the same time heir and lord of the same fief. No one is compelled to substitute another in his own name. No, there you go. There it is. No one is the heir of a living man. You cannot be heir of a living man. No one is beyond the law. Notice the wordage. It doesn't say above. It says no one is beyond the law. No one ought to be made rich out of another person's injury. No one should be burdened by an act of another. No one is bound by the advice he gives. Remember that. I'm claiming that one. 1483. No one is bound by the advice he gives. No one is relieved or gains an advantage from his own proper deceit. No one can acquire a right of action through his own fraud. No one, not even the freaking government. No one can acquire a right of action through his own fraud. So your whole thing, that whole ab initio, the whole thing is fraud from the freaking beginning when they gave you that birth certificate and signed your name and got your mommy to, right? See, and if you knew these, they wouldn't get away with these. Now, once you know these, what do? Well, you're going to have to inform people that you know this stuff. I know that you know that I know, right? That you know I know this. 3 times it takes to get them to admit the fact. And there's another one in here someplace that no one can acquire a right of action through his own fraud, and you cannot use a statute to cover a fraud. Somewhere in there, it's somewhere in here, it says that. No one, and see, the beautiful thing is I can just type that in statute and it'll come up. Or what was another one that was great? Superfluity. And I'm like, I like that word. And see, most of us are too, we write too many words. Anyway, no one can improve his condition by his own wrong. So you cannot commit wrongs to improve your condition, to include stealing a loaf of bread. But then see, the magistrate should have mercy if you're trying to feed your family because your legs have been broken by this stupid freaking government in the first freaking place with their stupid rules and orders that you're not essential and you can't have, and right now you can't make rent, you can't feed. I mean, we got people lining up still on this island for food. No one is bound to know the private act of another unless done with himself. No one is held to act fraudulently who acts in exercise of his rights. I'm going to repeat that one. No one is held to act fraudulently who acts in exercise of his rights. Right? You can't convert a right into a crime or a fee. No one should be condemned unheard and unsummoned unless for contumacy. I did not know what contumacy meant. I'm going to make you look it up. I did not know this word. Contumacy. Did I spell it right? C-O-N-T-U-M. Oh, A-C-Y, no M. I did not know what that means. Me, ignorant slave. What do that word mean? All right, so contumacy. You'll figure it out very quickly. But anyway, no one should be condemned or unheard and unsummoned unless for contumacy. That's the willful disregard of a court order. No one can be compelled into co-partnership against his will. No man warring for God should be troubled by secular business. No one can die partly testate and partly intestate. You are either testate or you're not, and you are considered intestate until you tell them different. No one at the point of death is presumed to lie. That's interesting. No one is born an artificer. No one can renounce the country into which he was born. You cannot renounce your country. You can't do it. I was born on the land in a place called Illinois. Nothing changes that fact. Not my word, not my deed. That can't be changed. No one can renounce the country in which he was born, nor abjure. What does that word mean? Abjure. I knew that one ahead of time, but a lot of people don't, it turns out. Anyway, nor abjure the bond of allegiance. No one should have a greater benefit to his heir. Oh, wait. No one should leave a greater benefit to his heir than he had himself. No one can transfer to another a greater right than he has himself. No one can verify by jury against a record. No one can give a mandate to a bishop except the king. No one can give a mandate to a bishop except the king. No one can be both owner and heir. That goes back to trust law, right? And in the law, or equity considers the beneficiary the owner. Anyway, but no one can be both owner and heir. You either own it or you're not, and you can anyway. Think about it. No one can be at the same time suitor and judge. No one can be both tenant and lord of the same tenement, in parentheses, but no one can be both tenant and lord. They converted you into tenant. You have tenancy. If you're a lord, then you are no longer the tenant. Now, you don't know how. We don't know how, because we've been tenants for so long. It's hard. But we got to make some changes here. Get back to the de jure republic that we all thought we were part of. But no, turns out it was this fucking fictional corporation that was given to us to do our legal business for us and has turned into our masters. And they did it all by fraud, 100% by fraud. Fraud from day one. You were free for a couple of days, and then they got your mommy to sign some paperwork, and maybe your daddy too, and now they own you. And you never told them different. And probably more than once you've told them, like I did on numerous occasions. I cringe when I think about it, and see, I've been going slowly back. Right? I told them I was a U.S. person when I registered to vote. I told them I was a U.S. person when I got my passport. I told them I was a U.S. person when I got my driver's license. I told them I was a U.S. person. I told them I was a U.S. person. Why would they not think that I was a U.S. person? When I told them and signed more than once, you have done the same. You need to fix this. Correct the record. You don't want to be a U.S. person. Well, maybe you do. But I'm going to say probably you want to get out from the whore of Babylon and you want to be a free man. You don't want to be a bonded free man. You just want to be a free man. You want to break those bonds. There's a way to do it. Equity tells you that you must be provided with a remedy. Now, problem. They're going to make you find the remedy. And if too many of us find the remedy, they change the fucking remedy. But that doesn't mean they don't have to give you a remedy anymore. That just means they decided, oh, shit, these slaves are wising up. Just expect this. They're not our friends. They're not justice. They're not any of that. They're not going to fight fair. They were going to burn this fucking thing to the ground and rule over the ashes. They were trying to get us to commit mortal sins by bombing each other with nuclear weapons. They were trying to make the case. And then they would have ruled over the ashes. These people do not love you. They don't love your children. They don't give a fuck about you. No one can do by another what he cannot do by himself. So you can't send the sheriff in the deuce. Anyway, no one can do that indirectly which cannot be done directly. No one to whom is delegated a power of coercion can himself transfer it to another. No man can fill 2 offices or 2 dignities. There it is again. No one can send anything into the domains of another. Oh, maybe we need to go back and look at what do that mean? No one should change his mind to the injury of another. No man can do anything except what he can do lawfully, not legally. The word there is lawfully. No one can renounce a public right. Not even your governor, not even your mayor. No one can be his own debtor. You can't loan yourself money. No one can change for himself the cause of his possession. No one is a pirate who has counted out the price. I love that one. Maybe the words don't mean what you think they mean, or maybe they do. Anyway, no one is a pirate who counted out the price. No one is a pirate who has counted out the price. One is not present unless he understands. No one is presumed to have preferred the posterity of another to his own. Yeah. I like that one too. No one is presumed to have preferred the posterity of another to his own. No one is presumed to give. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's 1516. Interesting. No one is presumed to give. No one is presumed. So what does presumed mean? No one is presumed to be forgetful of his own eternal welfare, and particularly at the point of death. No one is presumed to trifle at the point of death. I like that one, right? And see, none of us have been at the point of death, I hope, so you don't know how true these are. No one is presumed to be bad. No one is prohibited. Oops. I just had a little thing. There's my trackpad. Hold on, sorry. Where were we? It just jumped like 3 or 4 pages. I'm sorry. No one is presumed to be bad. No one is prohibited from exercising several kinds of businesses or arts. You can have 100 businesses. You can be an artist. You can be a painter. You can be a sculptor. You can be a potter. You can be a... No one is prohibited from exercising several kinds of businesses or arts. No one is prohibited from using several defenses. No wise man punishes that. No wise man punishes that things done be revoked, but that future wrongs be prevented. Right? You're not punishing to try to fix something that happened in the past. You're punishing to make sure it doesn't happen again in the future. You can't fix the past. No wise man punishes that things done may be revoked, but that future wrongs may be prevented. No one is to be punished for the crime of another. No one is punished unless for some injury, deed, or default. No one who... You got to step off your square for punishment. And even then, you have to have malintent. No one is able to condemn is able to acquit. Yeah, no one who is able to condemn is unable to acquit. No one can take and enjoy the rent without consent of the owner. No one can lose his own property except by his own deed, transgression, or neglect. No one becomes bad in an instant. No man ought to be his own judge or to administer justice in cases in which he is not interested. No one goes to the law without an action, and no one can bring an action without a writ or a bill. You can't move or act unless you can use, oops, not that one of these things, right? By the way, if you write your letters, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. Rarely can you use this, and this makes it, I know this for a fact, and I found it out by accident when I was crossing borders. This is a regular old black pen. I have found just for your own use, and then I have a purple one around here someplace. I don't know what I just did with that. But anyway, the purple and the blue just makes it really easy when you're going through your documents. Oh, there's the original, right? Because all the rest will be in black. Same thing when some people, they like to use the red ink pad for their thumb because, oh, that's the original and the copy will be in black. Anyway, does it matter? It doesn't really matter, but it really makes a difference when it, especially like if I, okay, once I start writing in purple, and I don't know, I just have done with Harold's purple crayon. It's here someplace. There? Nope, I don't know. Again, oh, yeah, here. Don't use this. Don't use this. Good for taking notes and stuff, but not excellent for, I don't know what to do with it, but not excellent for having them take you seriously if you're writing in pink. Blue, purple, black. That's your choices. And then shades of blue are important too, but you want the deep dark blue, not the sky blue. Oh, like this one. This is not the pen you want to use when you're writing. You would prefer to use this one. Anyway, it's the little thing. It's a little thing. Form is important. That's the other thing I'm studying, and I got to get to that later. And I wish I could find I know it's around here someplace, and I'm not gonna bother with it now. Anyway, no one is bound to produce writings against himself. No one is bound to foretell. No one is bound to arm his adversary against himself. That one's huge. No one is bound to an impossibility, right? No one goes to law without an action, and no one can bring an action without a writ or a bill. That's what I just read. Okay. No one is bound to an impossibility. No one is bound to arm his adversary against himself. Again, you don't have to bear witness against it. You have the right to remain silent, right? And if you remain silent, and they okay, just because you don't answer the questions, you have that right. You may not. No one is bound. You can do it if you want to, if you're a foolish person, but no one is bound to arm his adversary against himself. Shut the fuck up. Because they tell you directly, because of Miranda, that anything you say can and absolutely will be used against you in a court of law. But you are not bound to arm your adversary against yourself. You don't have to give them papers. You don't have to, unless they have a warrant for them, right? You don't have to anything. But can I see your driver's license? You gotta, excuse me, sir, do you have a state-issued plastic ID card with your photo telling me what your position is before I give you my ID? Oh, well, then you're out of uniform. That doesn't mean the clothes you're wearing. That means you're out of uniform. That means you have, from get-go, due process. Now, if you're smart, you may or may not inform him of same. But if you do inform him, now for sure his imminent immunity is removed, because they have imminent immunity right up until the point that they start violating your rights. They do not have the right to violate your rights because of statute or code or the enforcement thereof. And you got to stand up, slave. Now, you can do it in a couple ways, where you trap, right? Where you set the trap. They should know better. So they demand your ID and they won't produce one for themselves. And that's going on in this state for damn sure. And other states, I can think in Idaho, one time I got stopped, and the police officer, who was a Babosaurus Rex, I mean, up in Idaho, Idaho not known for its gorgeous women. Texas, yes. Utah, yes. Idaho, not so much. But anyway, this girl was a babe and a half, and she absolutely, positively identified herself before anything happened. Right? Hi, I'm officer. I don't remember her name, so and so. Right? I've got the most beautiful blue eyes you've ever seen. And I'm looking sporting in my uniform. But I think you didn't come to a complete stop. Can I see your ID? Right? And she flips out her badge with her freaking, right? And she is a state trooper in the Idaho State Trooper Force. I don't know what her name. This was many moons ago. It was in the 90s. Anyway, that was an interesting traffic stop. And she let me go without giving me a ticket. But I mean, the bottom line is, she absolutely identified herself. Unlike the masked men here on Maui, who don't seem to think that they need to identify themselves and can make all kinds of demands of me for just fucking crossing the goddamn street. Still pissed about that. And see, gotta not be pissed. Calm is the superpower. Can't be pissed. Cannot come with dirty hands. Cannot come with wanting vengeance. All right. No, you guys just fucking obey the goddamn laws as written. Did you or did you not take an oath to uphold? Yes, you did. I accept your oath, and I'm gonna hold you to it. No malice, right? No cause for dishonor. Anyway, we will relax again. No one is bound to arm his adversary against himself. That's where I'm dwelling. No one is bound to foretell, because you can't. And I've been trying to foretell, and I've been getting it wrong over and over and over again. But anyway, no one is bound to foretell. No one is bound to produce writings against himself. I read these. No one who is ignorant is bound to give information, but everyone ought to know that wait a minute, there you go. No one who is ignorant is bound to give information, but everyone ought to know that of which he gives information. No one is bound to testify in his own baseness, or no one is bound to testify to his own baseness. Kind of a huge one, actually. No one is bound to expose himself. Think about this when it comes to the events of the day. They are not bound to expose themselves, right? They must be exposed by others. And if you thought that they were going to, okay, you caught us. That's not how it's going to go at all. No one is bound to accuse himself. See, this is all codified in our law, right? No one is bound to expose himself to misfortune and dangers. Right? No one is bound to expose himself to misfortune and dangers. You can volunteer to join the military. You can volunteer, right? But they cannot force you anymore. No one is considered as defrauding those who know and consent. Boom. They don't consider you defrauding you because they consider that you know this stuff. You don't, but you should know, and you are all right. You are considered to be consenting. I still got to write them and say, well, what did I consent to again? Right? But they consider this is their out right here. 1540. No one is considered as defrauding those who know and consent. So you got to let them know I no consent and I didn't know. So you have defrauded me from day one. I didn't know. I thought that was notice to the world. My mommy thought that was notice to the world. We didn't know that this was a fucking 75-year bond that says you own me. Neither laws nor acts of parliament can be so written as to include all possible cases, obviously. Right? So our founding fathers, they try to cover most everything and, see the possibilities that were coming, but they couldn't go for everything, right? They couldn't cover everything in the laws. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because it's going to be a weekend, and because it's turning out that there's a crap ton of knowledge that we need in order to get done. And like I said, these are you wanna kick their patooties. These are the ones because no freaking adjudication required. This comes down to us from the ages in multiple languages, and these are just the Nemos, right? Now let's go to the Nihils. Do we have time? How long have I been going here? I mean, you can read them for yourselves, but sometimes it's just better to have somebody read them. Like, we only been going an hour. Crackers, we get plenty of time. But there's some other stuff I wanted to do. Read the Treatise on Arrest and False Imprisonment. I put the links there to all this stuff. I'm reading Black's Law as we speak. And just read Black's Law, the first 20 pages. Read it. But, well, not even the first 20 pages. The first, because after, I can't remember what it is. It's, wait, I'll scroll on Black's Law. I'm in the A's. There you go. The first 14 pages or so, and then it becomes the dictionary of terms. But the first 14 pages of Black's Law, pretty interesting actually. Never bothered to do that. Let's see here. Let's go back to finding some Nemos. All right, we're done with the Nemos. Now we're doing some nihils, Nihil. See, and that's the other thing. I study Latin now almost every day. Why? Because it's the language of the dead, and it's the language that they use to enslave us. Use English. It was an interesting thing. I was talking to Fiji. There's a bunch of people in Fiji right now. Well, one girl is, well, she's not a girl. She's a woman from Ukraine, and one other, right? Okay, so her native language is Ukrainian, because they're in mafia. Another one is from Fiji, and her native language is Fijian, Pacific Islander. How are they speaking to each other? In English. And I've seen this numerous times where 7, 8 different languages there, and the language that they all spoke in common parlance was not French, it was English. Okay, nihil. And then I'm going to quit with these, and we're going to go to, oh, let me do it before I lose it. Where is it? Donde está? Bam. All right, and we need to go over these. I'm going to put them here, and I don't think we're going to get into them today. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But if we do, if not, take a look at these forms and figure out how to do it, because you got to learn how to write your own damn warrants. Anyway, that's for your possession later. Those are the forms that you need. Now, well, actually, we're not going to get there. We're not going to go there, but make your form correct, and you will have a whole lot less problems. But you're not required to fill out their forms, they have to take your stuff. But if the other, as I've said in other documents, you can make your own in your own. Do I have it over here? Yes, I do. You can put it in your own scribble, right? And in here, I can talk about some of the forms and tell them that, yeah, you can use this in lieu of a form. And these are the forms that I'm talking about. But anyway, we'll get to that on another day. But just look over those forms and we'll hopefully get to them here. But I want to go over these nihils and then we'll talk about the forms and then we'll quit. And it's a Friday. It's Aloha Friday. It's a lovely day here on Maui. Let's see here. I got to teach math here pretty quick, so I got to get going. All right. The king can do nothing but what he can do by law. Again, right? Okay. So the king can do nothing but what he can do by law. I think that is corollary to one of the ones you just heard. Nothing is so contrary to consent as force and fear. What? Yep, they knew, right? So how are they ruling us right now? Force and fear. You're afraid. A lot of people know that that mask is of absolutely no use, and you wear it anyway because you know that you can. I mean, it's gotten to the point where they show lots of stuff on social media where the only crime that the person is committing is not wearing a mask inside a store, and they get mobbed by other sheep slaves. But anyway, nothing is so contrary to consent as force and fear. But then you have the police officers doing it, also the policy officers and the policy offers, and now you can get them because they can't use force and fear to make you consent. They do it all the time, but nothing is so contrary to consent as force and fear. No one can profit by what is contrary to law. They do that all the time. See, time for who enforces? All of us, the sovereigns, enforce the law, and we have been lax. No one can provide what is contrary to law. No one has nothing. But he who has nothing gives nothing. Your government, for example, they can give you nothing without taking from another. There is nothing more agreeable to conciliation than mutual respect. Let me read that one more time. See, because they've gotten to the point where we cannot reconcile because we have no respect for each other. I have no respect for people that look the other way when it comes to the rape of children, look the other way when they can't figure out. Anyway, right? They can't even figure out the math well enough to figure out that there was just a steal, right? But anyway, so how can I have respect for people that their mathematical and logic and reasoning skills are so freaking warped and sad that they couldn't even figure out? Right? Like even let's just go back in time to a year ago this month when I was just going, the numbers that they gave you are insane. There is no fucking way they're going to come up with these kind of numbers, right? They were telling you everybody was going to die. There are thousands of people dying on Maui, thousands. Never happened. Do I get to say I told you so yet? Because I can do some math. Because I could look at those numbers and just go, well, this is complete bullshit. But apparently, there are so many of you that can't do mathematics. I don't know about who's watching here, but you believe that bullshit for months. And slowly but surely, some of you guys will go, oh, wait a minute. None of this is apparent. They keep changing the numbers. They keep moving the goalposts. None of this is happening. And I told you that, tell you from the beginning. I told you from the fucking beginning. But there are so many people, and it's not their fault. They went to school. Most of them wound up hating division. Fuck algebra. They can't do fractions or divisions. They can barely subtract. They can barely add and subtract coming out of the school. That wasn't an accident. That was so they could do what they're doing now. And then guys like me that can actually do math and teach math. Oh, well, don't listen to those guys. Listen to this guy. Right? He builds computers that require mandatory updates. And now he's giving you jab shot that are going to require mandatory updates. And I saw a great meme. Doesn't matter if it works or not, just has to be mandatory. Just like all those updates, same formula. They came up with a disease to sell, right? They've done it backwards because they came up with a disease to sell the jabs, not the jabs to combat the disease. Anyway, there is nothing more agreeable to conciliation than mutual respect. There is nothing generous which is not at the same time just. An error of name, pay attention to this one. An error of name is nothing when there is certainty as to the person. Nothing is done by time, although everything is done in time. Ooh, did I tell you about the 2-letter words? Nothing is done by time, although everything is done in time. The court has nothing to do with what is not before it. Nothing in law is more intolerable than to rule a similar case by a diverse law. Right? Nothing is more intolerable than that. Nothing more preserves in tranquility and concord those subjected to the government than a due administration of the laws. Nothing preserves the tranquility and concord those subjected to the government than a due administration of the laws. Nothing is so unjust as to extend equity too far. Ooh. Yeah, see, and that's the other thing. This is beautiful. So you can go in here and type in equity, and then just where does equity show up, right? And then interesting that it shows up here, right? We did the other equity maxims, and this should be in those 20 equity maxims, because nothing is so unjust as to extend equity too far. You can take anything too far. The law does not concern itself as to who may not have the right to an action or who may be injured by an exception. Nothing is more just than what is necessary. Nothing wicked is to be presumed. Nothing is perfect while something remains to be done. Oh, nothing wicked is to be presumed. What is the other one? Never. What? A sufficiency of stupidity is the same as malice, but malice should never be assumed when stupidity will suffice. Most people know the last part of that, right? Never assume malice when stupidity will suffice. Anyway, nothing wicked is to be presumed. Nothing is perfect while something remains to be done. Nothing can be, and there's a corollary to that, where if you, an addition, I can't remember them. See, I'm going to have to know these well enough where these all go together. But the thing, basically, what I was trying to remember, nothing is perfect while something remains to be done. If you have to do an addition, that pretty much admits fault, right? It wasn't perfect when you started, if you have to do additions. And then take a look at the preamble. In order to form a more perfect union, that means we already had a perfect union, and they were trying with our Constitution to make it a more perfect union. So what made the union in the first place? Right? Oh, all those little words. Nothing can be demanded before that time when in nature of things it can be paid. We can do nothing against truth. We can do nothing against truth. There is no prescription for that which is not possessed. Let's see here. Nothing which is against reason is lawful. Bam! There's a boom. Nothing which is against reason is lawful. Putting a mask on, or 2 or 3, is against reason. When you know that the masks don't work. How can it be lawful? Nothing which is against reason is lawful. See, if you hit them with the maxims, right? And that's the thing. You could put a maxim in your document. I wouldn't put court cases. I wouldn't put other stuff. I would make those addendums or articles or attachments too. But you can put maxims in your documents. And you don't have to cite the maxim. You don't have to say 1561 is nothing which is against reason. Just put it in there. Right? Weave these maxims into your documents, and judges will go shit. They will shit themselves if they come up. They hate it when they come up. Nothing is more powerful than a citizen armed with law, knowledge of the law. This is law. And these are the maxims. This is what the law is written from. This is where they codify from. This is handed down, right? And they're all in Latin, you'll notice. Nothing similar is identical. Ooh, huge. Am I the same thing as that name? I am living man. Am I similar or identical to the legal fiction? Does this legal fiction identify the living man? or the person. You're going to start learning how to use your language against them because they've been using it against you. So you best learn what the words mean, and then you better learn this. And this is the spiritual adventure. Right? Jesus was a bringer of law. He was not just a walking on water bread feeder of lepers. Nothing is invented and perfected at the same moment. Yeah, there's a good one. Or children that are and other inventors. Nothing is invented and perfected at the same moment. Nothing is so constant as to natural equity. Again, um, later on, take that search engine and this thing and just search equity. Search various words because there also you'll find Nemos and so forth other than in the Nemos. Anyway, nothing is so constant to natural equity as that the same thing it be dissolved by the same means by which it was bound. All right, I'm butchering that in intonation. Anyway, nothing is so constant to natural equity as that the same thing be dissolved by the same means by which it was bound. All right, there you go. Look, I read it in English. Nothing is so constant to natural equity as to regard the wish of the owner in transferring his property to another. Again, these are nihils, right? The Nemos and the nihils, they rise in precedence in all of these maxims. Nothing, because I mean, this is no thing, right? No one, right? Nothing is so becoming to authority as to live according to the law. An example does no good which settles one question by asking another. And I think we'll stop there. All right, so let's go to these other ones. Go read these. This is going to take days. I only read a few pages from like in the 200s out of 359 pages. Let's just share. We'll just scroll, and then stop. And then now I'm at 1734. All subjects are the king's servants. Let all things be done honestly and in order. All things should be done freely and legally. All things, right? So these are the alls. These are the ominas. Right? All things are to be preserved, are presumed against a wrongdoer. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, those are the ominas. Like I said, let's skip those. No, get out of here. I got pop-ups, really? So last century. See, the words, by the way, it's World Sleep Day. Did you know it was World Sleep Day? Quit watching YouTube videos and go back to sleep. Don't worry, you can never go back to sleep. But go get some sleep. Oh, look, I used the word sleep, and it meant different things each time I used it. See, when they do that in the Bible, it's a miracle. No, you need to know what the fucking words mean. Okay, let's go over here to this one. This is the last one I put in here, and this is from the United States courts, forms. And think about the concept of form and forms. Let's see here. The form that you want to know about is A091, criminal complaint. Learn how to make a criminal complaint. Learn what constitutes a criminal complaint, or what will be, right? And you need to be knowing person, place, or thing, and just the facts, man. Right? And you are allowed to fill out. You are allowed to press your claims. You are allowed to press charges. You are allowed, right? Not just them. And if they won't press, you can press. You can move in a court if you have standing. You need to be able to, you can screw around all day long in the state of Hawaii courts or the state of California courts. And you want to get over to the de jure, Article 3. But you can't stand in front of the Article 3. They can't hear you. Slave. Got to change your status. Or as I think Kirk likes to say, you're not changing your status. You're just claiming your status. You're just correcting the record. You're already a man. You already own this thing. You're already the landlord of your own fucking body. They did that conversion to a tenancy through unlawful conversion of fraud from day one. But they don't know. They assume you're cool with it. Did you say anything? You haven't said anything. Did you sign your name that you're a US person? Then you're a fucking US person, as far as they're concerned. Why is this hard? Why is that even up for debate? They're not doing nothing wrong. They're not doing anything to you. It's already been done. They're just going on what's going on. That what happened, for me 57 years ago. Okay, let's see here. Oh, the pro se forums are on this thing, right? And see, all the complaints are here. You got to complain. Are you a complainer? But don't just complain. Know what the fuck you're talking about, right? Complaint for a civil case. Complaint for request for injunction. Here's a defendant's answer. Are you a defendant? Well, if you signed one of their forms that says you're a defendant, then you're a defendant. I am not defendant. Let's see here. Complaint for a civil case alleging breach of contract. Scroll. Where I'm down in the pro se. It's pro se 4 if you're following along. Complaint for a civil case alleging negligence. Complaint for a civil case. So you got to know how to use these forms and when they're appropriate. Complaint for employment discrimination. Complaint for violation of fair labor standards. Complaint for specific performance of damages based on contract to convey real property. So there's a risk in real estate. Complaint for the conversion of property. Third-party complaint. Complaint for interpleader and declaratory relief. Complaint for review of Social Security decision. If you're getting screwed on your Social Security. Complaint for violation of civil rights if you're a prisoner. Complaint for violation of civil rights if you're a non-prisoner. Maybe, right? Maybe you don't want civil rights, slave. Maybe you want unalienable rights, just saying. But maybe they did abrogate your civil rights. So here's a form, Pro Se 15. Are you pro se? Maybe you just want to scroll way the hell back up here to AO90 and file, and then go over to Kirk's Law page, and they seem to use the AO91 criminal complaint, and they seem to have gotten some interesting results. But he can't prove them. He just knows that something happened because people got arrested and removed. Okay. No. Anyway, so there's an hour, and I'll do an hour like this, read over, just like reading them, because then I don't know about you, because some people are visual learners. I do this in my math trainings and so forth, because there's various kinds of learners. I'm more of your senses. We have no language that doesn't involve sense, and we have no ability to learn that doesn't involve sense. So you're a visual learner, and most of our classrooms are set up for visual learners, even though there are kinesthetic learners, right? They got to get their hands on it. They got to move their bodies. They can learn that. They're good at football. They're good at auto mechanics. They're good at, turning wrenches and stuff, getting their hands on it. They're good at sports, etc. They're good at dance, right? There are women that can, like little girls, that can move their bodies and dance and move in ways that I couldn't even begin to comprehend. But because they can't do math, they're considered lesser, right? Because math doesn't speak to them. Dance speaks to them. I can teach them math because I can. Hey, here's an 8. Oh, look. Here's 1. Right? Look at their hands on it. Good morning.
Well, I've been up for a while.
Yeah, I know. You've been poking on your computer. Anyway, but the idea being is that I am an auditory learner and a visual learner. So if I hear it, when I went to university, it was free. And school was set up for guys like me, because if I can listen to it and see them writing it down on the board and listen to the lectures and so forth, I can regurgitate it, because that's all it's about. It's not about, right? It's just about regurgitating facts that they stuck in your head. So anyway, but memory, and there's Jim Quick, learn from that guy. And then there's the photo reading guys that talk about, anyway, I'm about to go do a photo reading course. And I'm doing it online, much to my chagrin. I'd much rather do it in person, but, the Rona. So anyway, the idea being is that if you listen to this video over again, while you're reading it, or maybe not even while you're reading. Just listen to it on 2x speed, and I go over all of these things, and I'll try to keep the commentary to a minimum, and then you just learn those maxims. Especially the Nemos are some of the most important ones. The Nihils are also some of the most important, but they're all important, and they all, if you can, you'll find many times as you're reading through that first link that I put up there from Kirk's Law Library, that has the, what's the name of the book? Not a treatise on false arrest and imprisonment, the one I was just reading from, which is the, what's the actual name of it? Maxims at Law. Anyway, it's right there. It's one of the ones, you can't miss it. It's the Maxims. Read it. Legal Maxims. There you go. And then there's a couple other things on there that you might want to know. But like I said, if you want to kick them into patootie, you got to know what the words mean. You got to know, right? You want to take the gloves off and start getting these guys to be the public servants that are supposed to be, and push them back into their oaths of office and, you know, where they belong. Legal maxims, because no need for adjudication, right? Because say you cite a case and it can be interpreted one way or another. There, you see, again, in here, when I started off this thing, number 5, make the steel more expensive than it's worth, right? That's number 1. You got to make it, it's not worth their time. Go get somebody else. You don't want to mess with me, right? But you also got to know your shit, right? You got to know what you're talking about. You got to know what the words mean in order for you to make that happen, in order for you to make it more expensive for them to come after you than it's worth, right? And especially if you can shoot back, defense. Best defense, good offense. But don't go on the offensive until you have cause. And then, this is a violation of due process. You didn't identify yourself. You know, look, so learn due process, because it's due process from the very beginning, right? So they're out of process. Oh, now you can sue their bonds. Now they have no immunity. Isn't it odd that the first thing they do is try to go for immunity? They try to go for imminent immunity or sovereign immunity, right? They're the sovereigns, and because they're work for the state, they've sworn these oaths. No, you're not. I accept your oaths, and here's all the due process violations, and because of that, I'm going to tap your bonds. Because I wouldn't want to sue you. I wouldn't want to go to court. I'm just going to report you to your insurance company and see what they have to say about it. I'm going to report you to the U.S. Marshals and see what they have to say about it using that complaint form. See how it works? Got to armor yourself up, right? Put on the armor of God. It's not hokey. I just want to do it. And then you need this thing. Telling you, look, I'm thumping this Bible, right? You need this thing. You need to understand what's in here. Those Nemos are from this. You'll see them reflected here. You'll see many of the maxims at law reflected in here. You need to know what the words mean in here and be able to apply them to your daily life. If this isn't the path you want to go on, guess what? Buddha, good path too. Guess what? Do I have it over? I don't have it over here. Supreme Yoga, good way to go. But you can't go there being a boob. As simple as that. All right, Crime Stoppers. And couldn't hurt to learn some mathematics too. I'll be back tomorrow, and probably Sunday too. There's a shit ton of stuff to do, guys. And it's getting toward condition critical. Things are coming up. You need to help. But before you can help, take care of your own, right? Take care of yourself. Make sure you get your documents, and then make sure you're out. Let them know. You got to let stuff season up, 30, 30, 30, 30. You got it, right? You got to tell them 3 times. You can't rush the process. You can't be going out there looking for trouble so that you can do that, right? Just stand your square. And do the right thing. You know what the right thing is. And you know what's going on right now is not right. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. E pluribus unum, Crime Stoppers. Educate self, educate others.